The first rays of sunlight pierced through the leafy canopy, casting intricate patterns on the bamboo floor. This jungle wasn't your typical wild one. It was home. There was a refrigerator stocked with salmon, a coffee maker that hummed a familiar tune, and a calendar hanging on the wall, marking the days of human lives. He yawned, revealing a set of impressive canines, and padded over to the kitchen counter. The coffee was already brewing, its aroma filling the air with a comforting warmth. He had set the timer the night before, a trick he had learned from watching his human neighbors. The big cat hopped onto a stool, his tail swishing lazily behind him, and surveyed his domain. It was a good life, a comfortable life, but something nagged at the edge of his consciousness. His amber eyes, usually bright with playful curiosity, held a hint of concern this morning. He had caught snippets of the human news the day before, images flickering on the screen, voices laced with urgency and despair. Natural disasters, conflicts, hunger, poverty. The list seemed endless. He sipped his coffee, a strange concoction of fish broth and lactose-free milk he had concocted himself, and wondered, why were humans, with all their intelligence and resources, struggling so much? With a sigh, he pushed those troubling thoughts aside. It was a brand new day. The sun was out, the coffee was good, and he had a whole schedule of exciting activities planned. There were errands to run, friends to meet, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to forget about the complexities of the human world, at least for a little while. Breakfast was a simple affair. A bowl of kibble topped with a generous dollop of yogurt, a treat he particularly enjoyed. As he ate, he flicked on the television, his tail twitching in anticipation of his favorite morning show, Good Morning Jungle. But the usual cheery banter of the toucan hosts was replaced with grim faces and breaking news.
A natural disaster has struck a distant land, leaving countless animals and humans displaced and in need.
The images flashed across the screen. Flooded homes, frightened faces, desperate pleas for help. The big cat watched, his heart sinking. He may not have understood the intricacies of human politics or the reasons behind their conflicts, but he knew suffering when he saw it. The plight of those affected, both human and animal, resonated deep within him. He finished his breakfast, his appetite waning with each passing image of devastation. The playful energy he had woken up with had evaporated, replaced by a heavy feeling of helplessness. What could he, a solitary cat living in his jungle-themed haven, possibly do to alleviate the suffering in the world? It seemed like a problem too vast, too complex for even the most well-meaning individual to tackle. Switching off the television, he decided to focus on his own little corner of the world. He had errands to run, tasks to complete, and perhaps by focusing on the tangible, he could push aside the overwhelming despair he felt for a while. There was a strange dichotomy in his existence. The simple pleasures of his daily life juxtaposed against the complex and often heartbreaking realities of the human world he observed from afar. The remnants of breakfast sat in the sink, a testament to his rushed morning. He looked at the dirty dishes, a low growl rumbling in his chest. He hated doing dishes, but even big cats had responsibilities. He tied on a little apron, a gift from a well-meaning squirrel friend who thought it was adorable, and set about his task. As the warm water cascaded over his paws, he found himself pondering. Humans, with their opposable thumbs and superior intellect, had built incredible things. Soaring skyscrapers, machines that could fly, and devices that allowed them to communicate with each other across vast distances. Yet they seemed unable to solve the most basic problems plaguing their species: hunger, poverty, and the constant cycle of conflict. It was a conundrum that baffled him. He swished his tail in frustration, splashing water over the kitchen floor. He may not have had opposable thumbs, but he knew how to share his food, to care for his neighbors, and to resolve disputes without resorting to violence. Were these not basic tenets of existence, hardwired into every living creature? The dishes were finally done, sparkling clean and lined up neatly on the drying rack. He surveyed his work with a grunt of satisfaction. It wasn't much, but it was something he could control, a small act of order in a world that often felt chaotic. He knew he couldn't solve the world's problems, but he could take care of his own little corner of it. And maybe, just maybe, if everyone focused on creating a little bit of good around themselves, the ripple effects would eventually reach those who needed it most. The errand for the day was simple: a trip to the market to replenish his dwindling supply of tuna. But for a big cat with a flair for the dramatic, A simple errand was an opportunity for a grand adventure. He strutted into his walk-in closet, a jungle in itself with clothes racks draped in silk shirts, shelves overflowing with leather boots, and a mirror that spanned an entire wall. He had always been a creature of comfort, but living among humans had instilled in him a certain appreciation for style. He scanned his wardrobe, his tail whipping back and forth in contemplation. Should he go for a casual look today? A breezy linen shirt paired with his favorite khakis? Or perhaps something a little more formal, a crisp white shirt and a pair of those stylish sunglasses he had been eyeing? The decision was a tough one, but he finally settled on a compromise. A sleek black leather jacket, a pair of dark jeans, and his trusty aviator sunglasses. He admired his reflection, striking a pose that would make even the most jaded fashion critic purr with approval. With a final satisfied glance, he grabbed his keys and headed out the door, ready to brave the urban jungle. He may not have had all the answers to the world's problems, but he knew how to make a statement. And today, his statement was simple. Even a big cat with a conscience could rock a leather jacket and a pair of aviators.